Hello, millionaires. Welcome to the Millionaire Money Podcast, episode 8. Today, we're going to be talking about what wealth actually looks and feels like and how you can know when you are actually financially free. Stay tuned. All right, family, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about how can you actually know when you are financially free? And, what is that standard for building wealth or financial freedom? And, I'm talking about this because, as you guys know, we're going to be launching into the 8 irreplaceable habits of millionaires in the coming podcasts. And one of you guys actually commented on my last podcast, the very last one, where I talked about how most people talk about generational wealth and really don't have an idea of what that means or what that looks like. And so it's this buzzword that is super nice and super juicy and all of that, but you don't end up seeing the actual fruit of those conversations because people don't actually know what they're saying when they say that. Now, actually, before we continue, I just want to say, y'all, make sure that you review this podcast, you rate this podcast, you share it, like it, follow, subscribe, all the things so that I can know that you are here. So definitely leave a comment in the chat, rate, review, share, so that this message also can get out to the people who truly, truly need it. So I talked about that in the last podcast, and one of you guys commented that it is absolutely true. Like, most people genuinely do not know what that even looks like. And what that helped me to even start thinking about was the fact that I'm about to talk about building wealth and making millions of dollars and making up to $100 million. And I realized that most people will also say this to me, right? Like, people talk to me all the time and they'll say, Toyin, what do you really want? I'll ask often. I ask that a lot. What do you really want? And people will often say to me, I want to be financially free. I just want to be financially free. And then I always follow that answer with, okay, cool. What do you mean by financially free? What does that actually mean? What does that look like? And most people, y'all, do not actually know in a tangible form when they will be financially free. That most people don't know what that would actually look like for them. So it becomes this goal that we're pushing for, running after, and all of that. But there's no marker. It's literally like playing a game of soccer without a goalpost. Y'all, imagine that. If you are playing a game of soccer without a goalpost. Now, I have done soccer. Soccer is tiring. You're running here, you're running there. Even with a goalpost, you get tired. Can you imagine trying to play a game of soccer and you don't have a goalpost? You're literally just going to be running yourself ragged, not knowing whether or not you're getting closer to your goal. And so more than that, I've realized that a lot of people don't actually know what it looks or feels like to be wealthy. And, many people will just tell you, well, all you got to do is just, save your money, invest. Now, investing is even the word these days. Back in the day, people used to say, save money, save money, save money. Now everybody's saying, you just got to make sure you're investing, just invest and you be okay. And people don't understand that isn't the goal. Your goal in life isn't to be guess what I did? I invested $2 million. Money in itself, sitting in an account, even money that is growing is not my end goal. That is not your end goal. You're not investing money just to see it be invested. So we are going to talk about, what do you actually want? How do you actually craft a goal that will pull you to that goal? And then the second thing that you hear all the time around this conversation of building wealth and what wealth looks like is money is wealth. So money in itself is the goal. And I just think that when people don't know what it is meant to look like, they can't answer questions like, how much money is the goal? Someone could have $100 invested and someone could have $100 million invested, 10 million, 2 million, 5 million, 500,000. How much money is your goal and how much money will actually get you to financial freedom? 2, where should your money be? What sort of assets should it be in? What sort of vehicle should you be putting it in? How long should this money be in there? Should it be conservative type investments, aggressive type investments? These are actual questions that one, you need to have an answer for, and two, the answer will change over the course of your life, and it should change over the course of your life. Like if you don't have a plan and goal that transforms and changes with your age, with your lifestyle, with your responsibilities at that time, you are setting yourself up for like a big surprise at some point in your life. You have to have a dynamic goal, but you also have to have a clear picture of when you've hit this goal. And you know, in the coaching room that we have around money, around finance, we go into all of this stuff. We go into like the nitty gritty of the numbers of like, what is the actual number you need to have in order to have the lifestyle that you're talking about. I don't have time to go into all the nitty gritty number calculation stuff here, but at least we're going to keep talking, because I'm going to show you how to begin to think about it so that you can start trying to like create those things. Now, one of the things that I want to say is this: money itself, I've said this, I think it was like a first or second episode, money in itself doesn't mean a thing. Okay, y'all heard me? Money means nothing. Money doesn't mean anything. Money is paper, it's numbers, it's a tool. So you have a lot of people who set that goal of like, well, my wealth goal, my financial standard is whatever amount of money, and they have that, but they aren't actually wealthy. And so what does this look like? This means that if you don't know like your financial freedom marker, target, how can you actually create it? If you don't have this clear vision of what it is you're trying to create, there's two gaps that you may end up falling into. One, you'll never get there because you don't see it at all. But this other one is scary, y'all. You could actually be in a place of financial freedom according to what you desire for your life. And because you don't see it, you end up doing more, like pouring out more, hustling more, grinding more, and you can end up actually losing that equilibrium that you really wanted in your life because you were never actually honest with yourself about what the goal looks like. It's almost like when you work, any of you who've ever had a camera, like a adjustable, I'm not a videographer, so my language is going to go sideways, but you know, the actual cameras where it's, I use one of these, but guys, I have no words for it. You have the zoom, right? And when you have a zoom on a camera, you can zoom it to where it's like perfectly zoomed in. And for example, me in this video right now, I'm zoomed in and I'm in focus, and it's exactly where you want it to be. However, if you zoom in a little bit too much, all of a sudden you've done a great job in zooming, but you're no longer even seeing the thing you actually want to see, and you're seeing my background. And those of you guys who are listening by audio, you can imagine that, right? So for the people who don't have this clarity, you not only end up getting to that place of financial freedom, but you keep on going and pushing and striving, and you lose that equilibrium of what you were actually pushing for in the very beginning. And this is where, you know, I talk to you guys a lot about people who are millionaires and they feel miserable because they've learned the money itself doesn't do it, and they've passed that place of equilibrium where it's the all life wealth and the life that they are wanting. And so if you don't know what wealth looks like, you end up making more money but losing wealth. And boy, that's a whole podcast on itself, okay? So many people have realized that they have more than enough to create wealth. Like a lot of the folks that have come into our room, come into our program, they realize that they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. And then we start just giving them clarity around what they want, what their goals are, how to get there. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I have more than what I need to get the goals that I've been trying to have all these years. And because I had been living in this scarcity mindset, I didn't even notice it. I didn't even recognize it. And because they didn't, it was just slipping through their fingers. Guys, I can tell you, many of you who are listening to me right now have literally earned $1 million already. Seriously, like many of you have already earned $1 million and even past it. I don't care whether you're in a career, whether you're in running a business, like that's just the truth. But when you look at the accounts and you don't see what is supposed to reflect how much money has come in, it's often because you didn't know where you were going with that money, so the money will always find somewhere to go that is not the actual goal. And we've had even people who come to us and they're in the financial space and they realize that it's one thing to manage somebody else's money, like an accountant or someone who works for a bank or any of those pieces. It's another thing to clear your own self-sabotage around money so that you are able to actually build your own financial freedom. Guys, just understanding money enough for other people doesn't mean that you are getting it and doing it for your own self. There's like another group of clients where they realize that they've been running in circles because even though they wanted financial freedom, there was no goalpost. And so I remember there's a couple that just graduated from one of our programs. He was a real estate agent, and it was funny because his money didn't really have a place to go, a purpose. What ended up happening was he joined our process and we started showing like this, like he started creating his own goals and where he's pushing for and what his money is going to do. All of a sudden, within a week, he had the same number of deals come through as he had all of last year. In a week. Guys, why is that? Because finally, he had a reason for earning that money. He understood what that money would do for him, for his family, where it was going, what it was creating, and therefore, he was free to receive that type of cash flow within a week as opposed to an entire year. And so, what's the truth here? Let's get into it. Like, what is wealth? What is financial freedom? And how do you build it? The first thing I just want to say is wealth is about so much more than money. But wealth also includes money because I'll talk to y'all about that, because sometimes people want to be like, wealth is just everything in your life except for the money. And I'm like, oh, okay. We'll have that conversation later. But first of all, what is wealth? So I truly believe that wealth is in about 5 or 6 different categories of your life. And so the first category is wealth is your spiritual life. Because at the end of the day, guys, and I'm being so honest with you, at the end of the day, all of us are going to die. Is the truth. I am not going to live forever. You are not going to live forever. Maybe we get to 100 years old. Woohoo! At the end of the day, we will all pass away. We will all die. And if you don't know where you are going to spend eternity, and you have $100 million, or you are in overdraft in your account and you don't know how you're going to cover your bills this month, and you don't know where you're going to spend eternity, then you're not wealthy. It doesn't matter how much you have or don't have. You're in real trouble because money doesn't buy you anything once you're gone, once you die. And that's just the truth. We came to this world with empty hands, and when we leave with empty hands. And so for me, wealth is first and foremost, where am I with God? Where am I with God? And that's the question you want to ask yourself, because many people have all the other things, but when they're missing this key piece, there is always this gap, this gaping need, and they don't know what it is that they're trying to fill, but they know that they need to fill it, and so they're doing all these different things to try to feel this satisfaction. They're thinking it's going to come from having a lot of money, or they're thinking it's going to come from having this or that, or marrying this person, or having children or not having children, or graduating or not graduating. Like, many people try to fill that gap in our hearts, that ache in our hearts, with all these external things. And I can tell you guys without a shadow of a doubt, without God, all of it is garbage. Hear me, oh, garbage. It means nothing. So for me, I am wealthy because I know that I am loved by God, that he loved me so much that he sent his son to die on the cross for my sin. And when I die, I will stand with him, not because I did anything here, not because I had $1 million or built wealth or coached people or was nice to people or gave back to the community or any other thing, or a mom or a wife or any of those things, simply because I believed in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, and gave my life to him. So like, you need to ask yourself, where am I spiritually when you're thinking about wealth? Then the second thing that you want to ask yourself is, where am I? Because wealth is also health, like physical health. It is not just a cliche, it's for real. Like, if you are doing so much that your physical body begins to break down, what's the point, y'all? Like, what is the point of having millions of dollars in your account and you can't even enjoy it? You can't even rest. You can't even sit down. You can't even do the things that you need to do. Now, I'm going to talk about this when we get to the money part of wealth, actually. So I'll leave what's in my head right now. I'll pack it for a little bit later. Okay. But you need to be able to take care of your body so that you have longevity in the work that you are called to do. And this is one of the things I had to learn the hard way, because in the beginning, I was so much in that mentality of like, grind, go, run, don't sleep, you know, the no sleep crew, that I would sacrifice my health. And now this season of my life, and I would say this has been maybe the last 4 years, the last 5 years, I did that for like a span of 9 years, where it was just like grind, 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 go, go, no sleep, 3 hours, 4 hours a day of sleep. And I've realized in the last 4 years, first of all, I became a millionaire in the last 4 years, a multi-millionaire. How? Because my body is getting what it needs, because I am eating better, I'm actually sleeping and like getting good rest, I can think better, I'm more productive, I'm more creative, I'm more powerful as a person on the planet, because my body isn't trying to catch up with everything that's happening around me. My body is ahead of it. So that's the second piece. The third piece, wealth is your inner joy. Joy matters. Anyone who knows me personally, okay? All of y'all who know me personally, and many of you guys, well, not many of you now, is like small of you know me personally, but those of you who don't, I do not play about having fun. I don't play about it. If you're a client of mine, you know that, because I am forever laughing. Like, money is a heavy conversation sometimes, because sometimes the situations are extremely heartbreaking, tricky. Like, you got to think real hard and blah, blah, blah. And there's strategy and there's work and there's like all this stuff. But guys, if it's not fun, I'm not there, because what's the point? You know, what is the point? And part of that is having a very healthy self-image. So not being in a place of like this like pride and I can't learn from nobody, I don't need anybody. And also not being in a place of this what's the word, deprecating, you people with your accent, so deprecating, whatever it is, this place where you're beating up on yourself and saying like, I never get anything right, I never have it. Like, having your heart in a place where you are clear. You know, there's something that one of my friends said about me, which I take it very seriously, is, you know, I am very open-hearted. I'm very conscious of when there is like offense in my heart, and when there's like drama in my heart, like I can't live in that. And so for you, wealth is also clearing out all the drama. This is one of the reasons so many people fall into all sorts of addictions when they start making money, like drinking, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, and all of that, is because they never got rid of the junk in their hearts. And now there's all this money, and they actually start trying to use the money to get these things to clear their heart, as opposed to just doing that work of releasing these emotions and these people and these traumas. And that's actually one of the biggest parts of our process and money mindset shift, is clearing out your heart so that money doesn't spoil your life. Because that is a real possibility that has happened to many people, is they don't deal with the inner traumas, the stuff that they've been through. They fall into a lot of money and the money backfires on them. So that's the third piece. So first, wealth is your spiritual life, wealth is your health, and then wealth is your happiness and inner joy and peace. And then the third thing is wealth is your relationships, your friendships, the people that you have in your corner. Like, without being able to be open and honest and transparent in a community where you feel loved and like you belong, How are you able to feel that kind of joy of life? And so wealth isn't just having these other pieces, it's having people. It's being the type of person that is open enough, willing to come into community and to be connected with other people. Wealth is also in relation to relationships, because money affects relationships, whether you want to admit it or not, because money will often give you the time freedom you need to build better relationships. So money will often give you that time freedom to spend more time with your children, to spend more time with your partner, to spend more time with the people that you love, with your friends, and also to be present with them. Because a lot of us, we don't even notice when we're there physically, but our brains are counting how much is in the account, moving money around, thinking of how you can make more money, thinking of how you can fix the business mistakes. Like, wealth is being able to be present and be true and be loving and be loved in community with other people. It is so, so critical. And then the last part of wealth is the money. Now, as I go into this, some people think that wealth is all about money. You guys already know that wealth is not all about money. However, some people also say, money doesn't buy happiness. That's one of those beliefs, like, that's been passed down for God knows how long. Money doesn't buy happiness. And I've literally read a scientific article where they did a study on people who had different levels of money, income in their lives. And this article said something like, essentially, actually, to a certain point, money does buy happiness, because there's a certain amount of earning where you are not able to sleep because you don't have what you need to get food, to get this, to get that. Am I saying that you can't be joyful and smile and happy and all of that without money? No, I was very, 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 very happy, even when I was like broke beyond anything. But there came a day where my husband didn't have dinner to eat and was eating chocolates while I was eating the last of our canned food. And I was more concerned and worried and scared than I was happy in that moment. And I can think of many moments back to back where the lack of money ushered in these other emotions. So am I saying that money is the only way to happiness? Absolutely not. But I'm also saying that money is a part of building wealth. And now let's talk about that, right? If you want to be able to get enough sleep, let's get very real. Like, if you're working overtime all the time, how are you going to be able to get the sleep that you need to be in a space of joy? Like, many people feel exhausted because of how much they have to pour into their business to receive the funds and the money that they're trying to build to take care of their family. Let's talk about health. We talked about health earlier. If you don't have enough money, it's often difficult for you to buy the right foods. And I learned this when we started getting super healthy. I was like, dang, like, healthy food is not a joke these days, right? They make all the processed stuff super duper cheap because it's all processed stuff. But if you're serious about your health, you have to be serious about money, because money helps you to get the stuff that you actually want and need for your body, and it actually affects your health. The other thing is, this idea of money doesn't buy happiness. Many people don't know this, but January is one of the months of the year that has the highest rates of divorce. Why? Because there's a lot of couples who, over the holiday season, they spend, and then January is one of the highest financial pressure moments, period. Did you guys know that? Like, January is one of the months of the year where people have the highest amount of financial pressure ever. Why? Because there's so much spending that happens leading into January. And now here's what that causes. And this isn't just about January. This is any time of the year. I can't tell you guys how many married couples that I know, that I have coached, that came into our room because they were having money arguments. So if you want to tell me money doesn't buy happiness, tell that to a couple who every single night is arguing because there isn't enough money, and neither of them know what to do about it. Neither of them know how to fix it. All they know is currently they feel frustrated. All they know is, I feel stressed and I don't want to hear anything right now. Tell that to a parent who is working. I remember one of the clients that came to work with us, she had so many heart issues because her father was a doctor earned $300,000 a month, but because he didn't get his money mindset right, the house was always in argument, always in argument. She grew up with so many money arguments. They ended up having a divorce, and she's like, her whole childhood was lost to this money struggle, even though he was earning $300,000 a year. And so why am I saying this? Because money in itself and not getting your money story right can actually take away happiness from your life. Not only that, but having money opens up the door for even more wealth, because it allows you to do a lot of fun, cool things like giving extravagantly and taking your family and having experiences that are like never, like, oh, what's the word? Unforgettable. Oh my gosh, guys. Sometimes you have to laugh with me, because honestly, right? Having these unforgettable experiences that like you are able to leave and give to the people that you love. I remember when my husband's parents were living like provinces away from us. They literally lived like a 3-day drive away from us. And we hadn't seen them in a long time. And we decided that we want, like, the grandchildren were missing them. They're missing us. We're all missing each other. And so we started earning a lot more. And one of our biggest dreams was to be able to take them with us on a trip. And I remember just being able to call them up and being like, Mom, Dad, pack your bags. Tell your workplace you gotta go, because we're going to, I forget where it was, like the Dominican Republic, I think, or something like that. You know, we're going to the Dominican Republic in 2 weeks, so clear your schedule. And they were just like, oh my gosh. And it was one of those unforgettable experiences. And those types of things, it's not about the money of it. It's about the feeling. It's about the experience. It's about being able to give back. Not only that, I remember another client of ours where her biggest goal, honestly, is to give more fresh water in the world. Like, she wants to funnel her money into making sure that people have fresh water to drink. So she checks her money mindset. She builds her business. She scales her business. Why? Because her money, she knows for every dollar that I'm making, this percentage is going towards fresh water. And we have tons of those initiatives in our business where it's like, for every dollar we earn, this is where it's going. And the Bible says, don't talk about where you give, when you give. So I don't talk much about those things. But many of the people, you know, sometimes people have this image that wealthy people or rich people are stingy, and they became rich because they are stingy. And what you don't actually know is that some of these wealthy people are people who are the biggest philanthropists on the planet. So what hospitals do you want to give to? What causes do you want to pour into? What is the goal that you set for your money to be able to actually make a difference in this world outside of yourself? And now that's one. But then here's the second part. So let's talk about financial freedom. Because like I said, a lot of people don't actually know what it actually looks like and when they are financially free or not. And so financial freedom is measured in a couple of different ways. So for example, how much cash in hand or realizable assets do you have? And then another way that some people will measure it is your wealth measured by your total assets. So like your true net worth. And like I said, we go into a lot of this. We have a net worth tracking document in our program, and we go into a lot of the nitty-gritty of how do you actually track where you are to know when you are financially free. But another way that you're able to check it is financial freedom being a place where you do not need to work to support the lifestyle that you choose to live. So I'll say that again. Financial freedom is a place where you do not need to work to support the lifestyle that you choose to live. So your investments, and I already did a podcast on our 11 streams of income, and you're able to go and check that podcast out if you missed it. But your investments are actually funding from any different stream, are funding the lifestyle. Now remember, the lifestyle is very different for every single person. So for one person, your investments funding your lifestyle is like, all I need is $50,000 a year. For another person, your investment funding your lifestyle is $3 million a year because I want to give back. Your investment funding your lifestyle is So the number that creates that actually varies a lot based on how you choose to live, right? Some people just squeeze by and their retirement goal is, I just want to make it. I'm in retirement. I just want to get through it. I just don't want to, I've heard many different goals, I just don't want to have $400,000 worth of debt. So that's my only goal for retirement, is that I'm debt free. But it actually also means that that person isn't going to have much cash flow in that place. So you have to ask yourself, like, what do I really want? Some people are able to give millions of dollars to the causes and make some difference for somebody else, And so I just want to say, like, building financial freedom is also a place for you to be able to make a decision on how do I want to live if I didn't have to work another day in my life. I'm not saying, here's the other thing about financial freedom. One thing I love about financial freedom is it doesn't mean you actually don't work. Because honestly, guys, if you stop working, you die. If you guys have done any sort of research into this, the people who live the longest as a community in our world is a small community in Japan. And one of the things that is noted about them is they don't retire ever. Like they keep working, but not because they have to necessarily, simply because they enjoy what they do. So they just keep doing it. And we here in the West have this culture of, like, you get to this age and then you retire, and you notice that a lot of people get to that age, retire, and because their brain is not engaged, their body is not engaged, their body actually starts to deteriorate and their brain starts to deteriorate. And so I'm not saying that you become financially free in order to, like, stop working. I don't think I'm gonna stop working, but there's a difference between working because you need to support yourself and working because you choose to, working because you get to, working because it gives you life, like it makes you feel alive and you like to serve in whatever way you've been called to serve, and it's fun for you to do it. There's a very big difference between working out of that place and working because I gotta do it to pay that bill, I gotta do it to pay off that debt, I gotta do it because these people are depending on me. That's where you want to start to actually begin to decide what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be creating that financial freedom. So here are your activation points for the day. Today, I want to give you guys an activation point, and this is what I would like you to do right after listening to this podcast episode. I want you to whip out your phone, your notepad on your phone, your laptop, or a pen and paper. And I want you to decide, what does financial freedom look like for me? What do I truly want? What do I really want? What lifestyle do I want to live? And then if you're actually serious about creating that reality that you have just written down right now and not taking the long, drawn out, wall bashing, difficult routes to get to that place, then I'm inviting you to book a call with us. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what has been keeping you from getting to that level in your finances, how you can accelerate the process and make sure that you are happy and joyful, not just when you get there, but through the entire journey. And so if you would like to have a conversation with myself or my team, feel free to jump over to moneymindsetShift.ca/call. So moneymindsetShift.ca/call. And we've helped people from all over the world be able to have this conversation, look at where they really are, look at where they want to go, and actually start to build. Guys, I'm just going to share this one thing. It was such a big deal today. Today, I was speaking with someone, and she is a daughter. She's an adult daughter of one of our clients. And she was sharing with me that, she said, growing up, all we saw was struggle. All we saw was poverty. All we saw was the scarcity. And she said, I watched my parents go through that struggle. I watched them go through life with that scarcity. She was celebrating with me, and she was just like, I've watched her parents worked with us 2 years ago. She said, I watched them step into your room and work with you, and I watched them completely, radically transform their lives. And she said, well, I know this, but she was like, Toyin, you know this. They were able to pay off hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. They were able to move. They were able to live. And then this past month, she said, her mom was able to sell $250,000 worth of product this last month in her team. $250,000 this last month. And she was just saying to me, like, Toyin, it's a different life. Getting to watch them step into their power, live at this level after watching the struggle for decades and decades, and now being able to see scarcity doesn't have to be the norm. And why am I sharing this with you guys? Because your shift, I say this all the time, your shift isn't just for you. Your shift is for the people that have been watching you, that have been seeing your example, and that have been waiting to see, is it even possible to break out of this generational cycle? So let's talk about generational wealth. Now for her, she has received generational wealth, not just because, her parents are doing a lot better today, but she's received generational wealth in watching them be able to create a new reality after all of the struggle that they had all been through. And so I just want to invite you guys, really get serious about creating this financial freedom, creating this type of wealth for yourself, but not just because it's for you, because it is for the people in your life. I don't care whether you have children or you don't have children. There are people in your life that are depending on your breakthrough to even know breakthrough is possible. I love you guys. Make sure that you share this, rate it, review it, follow, subscribe, all the fun things, and we will see you this time next Wednesday. Bye, everybody. Hey, millionaires, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here or visit moneymindsetShift.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.